Hello, my name is Kerry Martell. I am the author for RVLivingGuide.com, and I will be your guide to adventure. This video is going to be a topic that is, I think, very important if you're going to be living full-time as an RVer in various RV parks or various campsites. I'm just going to go over some ideas for etiquette, very important etiquettes, the camper rules, the unofficial rules. And honestly, some of this stuff is actually in the official rules, but I've found a lot of people particularly in my generation, you know, when I was a young man in college, I had an apartment that I leased in, and it wasn't for a very long time, but I had very noisy neighbors, and they were always, you know, playing very loud music, and that always was frustrating for me because sometimes the music was so loud I couldn't even hear my own television. Unfortunately, I've had a couple incidents of that at RV parks over the years as well. And it's always young guys. It's never the old people for some reason. It's always the young fucking dudes for some reason. And I had one guy, he was really into gardening. Him and his girlfriend living in their trailer, they were like, I don't know, environmentalists or something. And they had to have like 1,000 potted plants, it seems, surrounding their RV, and they had this whole fucking scenic thing that they set up. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't set up anything outside because I think if I have anything nice outside, somebody's gonna steal it. But these guys had a bunch of shit. So, and they would sit out there with their music so loud that sometimes I couldn't even hear my own television inside my trailer. And that was very frustrating. And you know, you have to go outside and have this whole awkward thing where like you have to ask an adult man to do something they should already know not to do. And sometimes, you know, they were okay, you know, sometimes they dial it down, but the frequency at which you have to do it kind of shows that they're just disrespectful. They're just not considerate for other people. So top of the list, I think, is just a general rule of thumb: don't play loud music outside at your camping spot. I mean, come on, you're right next door to somebody else. Some of these walls can be kind of thin. Don't do that shit. The next thing I would suggest is try to get along with your neighbors. You know, if they see something out of place, let them know. I had a guy that he hadn't set up his city water correctly, and it was just leaking a big puddle everywhere, and you know, that's an issue. So I let the guy know, and he was very grateful that I let him know. So just look out for your neighbors. If you see something out of place, let people know so they can fix things. You know, otherwise somebody from the park will come by and they might cite them or, you know, fine them or something for doing something like that. Don't try to cause waves. Don't try to cause drama for people, you know. And you shouldn't have to say it, but there's some people that are like little fucking nosy Karens of the world, and they ain't got enough entertainment, I guess, in their lives. You know, I guess they're too broke for cable TV or something, so they need to go spy on all their frickin' neighbors and be concerned about what they do. And I've never had that issue because I don't really hang out inside of my trailer. I don't have anything outside of my trailer, so I don't have any conflicts. But I've been around conflicts. I've been around conflicts where these Karen types get into it with somebody else who's, you know, in their spot setting up something that's 100% within their right to set up, and they have a fucking problem with it. And you know, I one time came home and there was always police everywhere because some people got into a fight, you know, between each other because, you know, some Karen lady got nosy into somebody else's business and then brought her husband over and they started talking shit, and then the two guys went at it. And you know, that's what it fucking is. Don't be a hero and fight for somebody else's honor and that shit. That's just not gonna result in anything but the police coming and arresting you both. But it caused conflict for me because I couldn't get to my fucking trailer. I couldn't get back to my site because the police were all blocked off, so I had to park my truck somewhere else until they all dispersed, which took hours. So I had to go park somewhere, walk down. It's a major inconvenience for me, and not just me, like anybody on that row. Anybody on that row couldn't get back to their site, so they just created a huge hassle for everybody. And honestly, if I was in charge, I would have kicked them all out. But nevertheless, the lesson is still the same. Don't cause conflict for no reason. Mind your own business. You know, Just be sensible. Just be sensible. Get a hobby that doesn't involve getting in other people's shit. Other etiquette. Keep your truck not parked in the road, and don't park so many vehicles that nobody else can get through the road. You know, this doesn't really need to be, it shouldn't even need to be said, but sometimes has to be said. Some people just try to park everything they can in their small little space that's meant for one vehicle and a trailer, or one motorhome and maybe one vehicle. But they try to put like a dozen cars in there, you know, ridiculous. I would suggest not having a bunch of stuff outside. Me personally, I seem to be an exception. Most people have like this whole patio set up that they do, and that's great. I personally don't do that because I think people will come by and steal my stuff. Now, that happens at RV parks. And it's not necessarily even people that live at the RV park that will do it. Other passerbyers, you know, can come by and just take your shit. You know, it just makes you more vulnerable for theft. So I don't do that stuff. But if you're going to do it, don't go crazy with it, right? You don't need to erect crazy patio with all this stuff everywhere. You know, you really don't need to do that. You're supposed to, if you're at a campsite, be there to camp. Don't be there to build a mini house in the fucking woods. If you're at an RV park, you know, you're going to be living there full time, so it's very tempting to say that you want to maximize all the space and erect as much cool stuff as you want. But what ends up happening is that you spend so much time sitting outside that you basically kind of have to be there all the time. You're always worried about if somebody's going to come by and take your things. You know, it just creates undue stress, and inevitably somebody will sometime come by and probably walk away with a few things of yours that's left outside. It's going to happen if you do that, so don't do that. That's pretty much my main tips here for RV park and campsite etiquettes. Don't be nosy, don't be noisy, and don't leave a bunch of shit outside, and don't crowd up your site with a bunch of unnecessary things you really don't need. It's really not that complicated. Just be a good person, don't be an asshole, and don't be a pack rat. Those are my tips for etiquette. If you got any further things you want to comment, add, just let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you found this useful. Cheers.